What is going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch back here with another primetime recap. This time, Sunday Night Football. Chicago Bears take it to their rival Minnesota Vikings at home on Sunday Night Football here on November the 18th, 2018. This is the biggest victory for Bears fans, for the Chicago Bears franchise in quite some time. The Bears haven't been good in about 6-7 years. I mean, it's been a long time since the Bears have even been to the playoffs. If I'm not mistaken, the last time I remember them getting to the playoffs was with Jay Cutler at quarterback. So the Chicago Bears fans have really needed a big victory. And I think tonight they got a big victory. They've been waiting for it. They deserve it, and they got it. The Bears take it to the Vikings 25-20. And the score might look close, but the game really wasn't close if you paid attention. I'm going to keep this recap pretty short because I've just been extremely busy and literally have not spent like more than an hour not doing homework today. So I'm going to get back to that as soon as I can. So make sure that you get your questions in as soon as possible so I can answer your questions. Get your comments in. If you want to be read, if you have a good point about the game or a good point about today's football, I'm not going to spend more than 15 minutes on this recap. So make sure that you do get in that comment section quickly. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, if you're just coming across this video randomly. So Bears win 25-20, and really this was domination at Soldier Field. This was a classic feel to this game. The defenses really took over on both sides. You know, the Bears defense was fantastic, but that shouldn't really take away from what the Vikings defense was able to do. The Vikings defense was also very solid on their own part. And, you know, when the Bears had the ball, and with all the Bears have been doing, and with how efficient and electric the Bears offense has been recently, it took a solid defense to come in here and keep their offense and team in it with a lackluster performance on the road on Sunday Night Football in that type of atmosphere. This was a rowdy crowd. This was a great atmosphere for a Sunday Night Football game. And this was a young team against the former NFC North champion, last year's NFC North champion. And I think the young team really needed to come out and get a victory. And as Collinsworth really stated at the end of the game, he said, you know, the Bears have been beating up on a lot of crappy teams. And I would fully agree with him there. But they haven't really beat anybody that you would consider a playoff caliber team for the most part. So they come in here, and from start to finish, they're up 14-0 at halftime. They continue that into the second half, scoring 11 points in the second half. They are outscored 20-11 in the second half, but that's with a 14-point lead. So the Bears dominate from beginning to end, look like the better team against a playoff caliber squad from beginning to end, and get their big victory. And I think this takes the pressure off of Mitch Trubisky. I think this takes the pressure off Matt Nagy. This takes the pressure off Bears fans to just say, hey, we're not only a young team with upcoming promise, but we're also a team that has some talent now, and we can do some damage now. We can beat teams like the Vikings. I think the Bears can compete with teams like the Rams. I really do. You know, I don't think they'll win, but I think they can be competitive with them, and that's because of their defense and because of the style they play, and also because their offense is very tricky and it's unique and it's hard to defend. So let's look at the statistics. 25-20 once again for the Bears. For the winning team, Mitch Trubisky, 20 for 31. Not the sexiest stat line, as we may say. 165, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. The second interception was really, I don't want to say like bad, but like it almost put the Vikings in position to get right back in this game. Obviously, the first interception was big, but to throw that second interception at that point in the game wasn't a good decision, and almost allowed the Vikings to have sort of a comeback in this game. Now, I do think that Trubisky did have his struggles in this game, no doubt about it, but he also, you know, had some big plays. You know, he hit some big throws down the field. He did have great scrambles for first downs. And the thing I've really noticed about the Bears and Mitch Trubisky, I would argue Mitch Trubisky has been the best scrambling quarterback in the NFL this year. I think he has. Move over Cam Newton, Russell Wilson. Maybe Lamar Jackson's coming into his own now, but Mitch Trubisky, every time you watch the Bears, he's so elusive, so hard to defend, and they really went into this broadcast. I thought this broadcast tonight, as a guy that was, doing his homework, doing other things, and also watching the game at the same time, I felt like the broadcast was really, really well done. And honestly, I think Sunday Night Football most of the time is well done, but this was one of their best broadcasts of the season. I think they really went into, some good depth on Mitch Trubisky and what his skill set is and what he can do and what he's doing with Matt Nagy and how he's matured. And also they talked about, the Viking side of things, just the journey of the teams. I thought this was a very well planned out, good preparation for this broadcast. Really well done. I don't know what you guys thought about it, but I thought this was one of the best Sunday Night Football broadcasts from Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth that we've had all season. But Trubisky he forces a defense and he to defend him in a different way because he's so elusive, so hard to defend with the run game. It does allow the Bears to do some different things with their running game, with Jordan Howard, who had 18 carries for 63 yards, Tariq Cohen, 7 carries for 27 yards, and then all the things they can do with screens and all that sort of stuff. So Taylor Gabriel was a leading receiver, 7 catches, 52 yards. He did make some great grabs in this game. Allen Robinson, 3 for 39. A quiet day like I thought he would have. Trey Burton, very quiet, 1 catch for 9 yards. Cohen, 3 for 23. And this game was interesting because I thought they would go with a little bit more Cohen than Howard, but I guess the game really dictated that they would go more with Howard, being that they were up for a majority of the game. So Howard's more of their lead back. When they're in the lead, they kind of give him the ball to milk the clock away, and that's what his job really was. But Cohen has usually been their lead horse this year in terms of catching the football, running the football, and being their big-time playmaker. But he wasn't really that in this game. He had a couple plays, but nothing too extravagant. But I think where we really need to go with the Bears is their defense. Their whole defense played phenomenal tonight. They really look like one of the best units in the league, if not the best unit in the league. They're really excellent. When Khalil Mack's out there, it completely changes this team. It allows them to have an edge presence. And then Akeem Hicks comes in, and I'm still angry that the Patriots didn't re-sign Akeem Hicks. He's one of the best interior D linemen right now. He's probably in the top 5 right now. He's that good. Danny Trevathan had a decent game at linebacker. Adrian Amos and Eddie Jackson at safety were good. Eddie Jackson with that interception for a touchdown was huge in this game. Corner play was very solid considering who they were playing against. Their run defense was excellent. Nothing really else to be said. I mean, just all around great defensive unit, just collapsing on the run, all over and a physical with the receivers and making the plays when they needed to. And I really thought they got a ton of pressure. My biggest concern for the Vikings offense was the fact that their offensive line was weak. Coming in this game, bad offensive lines don't travel well, as Michael Lombardi will always say. And in this game, that really came to be. I mean, the Bears were all over Kirk Cousins in this game, all over Kirk Cousins. Every time he needed a big play, even towards the end of the game, all over Kirk Cousins. As for the Vikings and Kirk Cousins, 30 for 46, 262, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Had 2 big interceptions. Both of those interceptions were because of pressure on him. 76.5 rating, 30 for 46. Didn't really scramble much, 1 for 5. And usually you'll see him scramble a little bit more. But literally no running game. Maybe they didn't really try to apply a running game early on, and they should have 9 carries for 12 yards. But just when you have no running game on the road with your offensive line versus a defense like this and a pass rush like this and a player like Khalil Mack, it's not going to be a good day. And a lot of those yards and that one of those touchdowns came late in the game when the game was basically over. Diggs did have a really nice game with 13 catches, 126 yards, and a touchdown. Adam Thielen was very quiet for the most part, 7 catches, 66 yards. But none of them were really threatening. So overall, I thought, the Vikings offensive line got manhandled. The defense of the Bears played really well. And then the Vikings defense kept them in it for the most part. 2 interceptions for Anthony Harris, sack for Eric Wilson. It was, pretty solid game for both defenses. And it was nice to see that because tomorrow we're going to see a game that's probably going to be 67-63. So, get ready for that. But today we did see some defense, and it was a nice contrast to see that as opposed to all the offense we've been seeing this year. And it was really nice to see a dominating defensive performance, and I'm glad that we can still see those in the NFL now. But it was a tough one for Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, and you got to question if the Vikings are going to be a road team in the playoffs. I don't think they stand much of a chance. They're just not a very good road team, and they're not a team that travels well because they don't have a great running game. They don't have a great offensive line, and their defense is good, but it's not as good as it used to be. So it's a lot on Kirk Cousins when they head to the road, and Kirk Cousins is a guy that can turn the ball over because he's so bold and so aggressive. So Bears played a great game, and they're setting themselves up for the division. So, yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the game for the most part. I'll get to the comments. I don't think I'm really missing anything. I just thought the Bears, even on offense, even though it was slow, they had a good scheme. They had a good game plan. I do want to mention, they mentioned in this broadcast, but I'm surprised the Vikings didn't go more to the no huddle. The number one team that was most efficient against the Bears was my Patriots, and basically all they did for the first half was no huddle. So, I mean, if you're going to beat this defense, you're going to have to tire them down. You're going to have to get rid of their pass rush. The only way to do that is to effectively run the ball or to push the pace, and the Vikings did neither of those things, and that's basically why they lost this game. So let's get to the comment section. Again, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. Get your comments in now. As soon as I'm done the comments, I'm getting out of here. So, what's going on, Rob? What's going on, Mr. Wong? Robot Guy says, has anyone started thinking Cousins is a bit overrated? I don't know if he's really overrated or like he's just where he is. Like, I feel like he's a 12, like a borderline top 10 to 15 quarterback, and that's kind of where he's always been in his career. I don't know if anyone really puts him higher than that. But, I mean, that's up to your personal ranking. Dame says, I started Wentz, and I'm pretty upset he gave me. Yeah, that was horrible. I did say to start Wentz today, I did not expect that at all, and I don't think anybody really did. So, yeah, I'm with a long line of people who miscalculated Carson Wentz play today. It was pretty bad. Percentage chance the Bears make the playoffs, I think it's like 80%. They have a really easy schedule, and they're leading their division right now. James says, just saying the Steelers are 15-1-1 in their last 17 road games. That's pretty impressive. How about them Colts? Hell yeah, party. I'm a big Luck guy right now, big T.Y. Hilton guy. Well, they're on a lot of my fantasy teams, but also Andrew Luck is probably my favorite player in the NFL right now. I love watching the Colts. They're a very exciting team. Rob says, fact or fiction, Vikings missed the playoffs. I think they'll make it, but it's going to be very close. Ghost Skittle says, duh, Bears. Rob says Dirk Cotter should not finish the season. They should. Okay, the weird thing about the Bucs is like every time Fitzpatrick starts a game, then Jameis comes in and Jameis plays good. And then whenever Jameis starts a game, Fitzpatrick comes in and then Fitzpatrick plays good. So, I mean, what do you do with that situation? Mr. Wong says, I have OJ Howard. Should I get Brate or risk getting Jared Cook? I would probably try to get Brate if I could. Robot Guy, I don't know how serious the injury is. Like, I've been off Twitter, off everything for a long time today, so I don't really know how serious. I heard he got hurt, but if he is seriously injured, I would try and get Brate. If I couldn't get Brate, then yeah, I guess you can look at Jared Cook. Robot Guy says it was nice to see Prince and Amir in the same game. Too bad they aren't on the same team. Are you just talking about their names? I'm not sure. Rob says percentage chance Drew Brees wins MVP, 45%. Wong says I had Adrian Peterson on my bench. I only have him in one league, and I think I started him, so I'm lucky. Ultra, and I probably wouldn't have if I thought I had a better option, but he had those touchdowns today, so solid. Ultra says I tweeted this earlier. Kirk Cousins is the most overrated, overhyped, overpaid quarterback in the NFL for what he really is. All right. Side point, Colt McCoy is, I forgot how fast that guy was. Total side point. Rob says, I always thought Cousins was a fraud. Wow, everybody's on Cousins today. James says, like how everybody wrote the Steelers off after 2 games. Robot Guy says, Trubisky. Fernando says that pick six, though. I'm sorry, but Case Keenum would have been better fit again than Cousins. No, I think Cousins is much better than Case Keenum. I also think that you guys aren't counting that the Vikings may just not be as good. I mean, it's the same thing with the Eagles. The Eagles just aren't as good as they were last year. Is that so hard to believe? I don't know. Ultra says the Vikings aren't playing with that same hunger last season on defense. Last year, they had the best third down defense. They have the best third down defense this year, I believe. Or if they don't, they're in the top 3 or 4. Ghost Skittle says Trubisky and Nagy proving them wrong. At least you can admit that, Ghost Skittle. That's nice to hear. You probably been listening to Dilly Vanilli too much. Black Republican says, I hope the Rams lose. Party says, honestly, Ramsey was such a stud in the first half. Then Ramsey was awesome in the game. The whole Jags offense or defense was amazing in that game. If they didn't have the 78th best quarterback in the NFL, they would have won. Name me more than one quarterback in Blake Bortles that has ever lost a game when getting 3 interceptions and his running back ran for like 100. They ran for 160 yards in the game, and he still lost the game. And the defense only gave up 16 points. Terrible. $10 from Bodo. Thank you, Bodo. He says, epic fail 2 weeks in a row. No live chats. Hashtag John Hot Take Hockey. I've been too busy to do it, to be honest, if I'm being completely honest. And Dylan hasn't been around to do them either. So, I mean, it just hasn't worked out. Ultra says, hey, Lane Johnson, having fun. I did tweet that, and thank you for repeating that. Jeremiah says he's young and up and coming. Good QB for the future. Great coach pairing. Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Trubisky is he's proving he's getting better, which is the best thing you want to see. You don't want to see him going backwards. You don't want to see him staying in the same spot. You need to see him getting better. Ultra gives us $9.99. Thank you, Ultra. You guys are the best. Kevin Kant says fact or fiction, Vikings missed the playoffs. I think I answered that. Sheagles were done when they lost the Cowgirls. I would agree. Blake says, yeah, Blake Bortles sucks. Ferocious Film says Cousins is greater than Keenum. Game Spotlight TV says, how good will the Bears do in the playoffs? I could see them maybe upsetting one round, but past that, I think it's going to be difficult for them to get past like the top 3 other teams in the NFC. Like I could see them being a top 4 team and potentially beating somebody in the first round, especially if they have home field. But once they have to go on the road against another good team with good coaching and a good quarterback, that's going to be tough for them to win. Like let's say they play the Vikings again at home. I think they can win that game. Let's say they play the Seahawks at home. I think they can win that game. Let's say they play even the Panthers. I think they have a chance to win that game. So there's a lot of teams in the NFC they can beat. If I'm really looking at it, I don't think they can beat the Saints. I don't think they can beat the Rams. But other than that, they might be able to beat every other team in the NFC. So Blake says the Vikings didn't upgrade anything. Let's be real. And the offensive line has always been bad. I would agree. Their offensive line has always been bad. Super Bowl prediction. My Super Bowl prediction has been the Saints and Patriots since like last March. I'm sticking with the Saints for sure right now, and I would be shocked if they honestly don't win the Super Bowl. That's how like good they are right now. If I had to say an AFC team, I like the Steelers right now, to be honest. I think the Patriots are probably 3rd on the list to get to the Super Bowl right now, but that could always change. So if I'm sticking with my pick until it goes down, but if I really had to bet money on it, I don't know. I would say the 2 best teams right now are the Saints and the Steelers in both conferences. I think that I'm just not sure the Chiefs in the playoffs quite yet. I'm just not sure. I feel like they could lose in the playoffs before the Super Bowl, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What wild card game would you want to see for the NFC or AFC? That's a good question. I'll have to look right now at the standings just so I can get a good idea. The AFC, I think I think like the Texans and the Chargers would be good. That would probably be a good game. Like whoever's 4 and whoever's 5 in the AFC, I think will be entertaining. In the NFC, I think whoever finishes the 5th seed will beat whoever's in the NFC East, if I'm being completely honest. So that being said, I think a Bears-Panthers game would be really good. Seahawks are interesting. I don't know if they're going to make it, but I don't know. None of them really strike me as super entertaining matchups. If I had to say one, I would say Bears-Panthers would be fun. All right. Do you see Chicago making a deep playoff run? Like I said, I think they could upset one team, but probably lose from there out. Panthers against Bears. Says Blake. Yep. Ultra says, me and Mitch had the same Super Bowl pick for a while, but I started loving my pick in May and June and Mitch in March. Yeah, as soon as the Saints had a good free agency, I was saying Saints. Monday night prediction, I picked the Rams, but I don't know. I have no idea who's going to win. I'm picking the Rams, but I think, the only reason I picked them is because they have Aaron Donald. It's literally the only reason. And they're at home. Colt McCoy is sneaky good. He's actually decent. And that's where I'm going to end it. I'll answer this last question from Graham. Do you think Dallas could take the division? I do. Yeah, I think Dallas, the way it's looking right now with Alex Smith out, even though I just praised Colt McCoy, and then the other thing with the Eagles suck and the Giants, I mean, until they keep winning, like if Saquon keeps running for 170 yards and Beckham keeps making one-handed catches in the end zone, then maybe I'll pick them to win the NFC East. But other than that, it's the Cowboys to lose, honestly, at this point with the Redskins backup quarterback. So I think you got to say the Cowboys. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more. It's Mitch at the Bottom Line View, and I'll see you tomorrow for the Monday Night Football live stream. Peace out.